Do you got Google or do you use something else for your AI? What's your AI platform of choice? Do you have one?
At work we use Claude a ton.
Mhm.
Personally, I've used ChatGPT and Gemini. So
I'm a Gemini guy. It's
yeah,
like the integration. So like I get like 2 terabytes of space plus whatever Gemini bullshit, and it like integrates with basically everything. I'm into it. So, all right,
nice.
that was the quote unquote cold open. Please
Oh,
introduce
good work.
yourself. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, whew, check that box. Uh, Hi y'all. I'm Flint Espil. I'm a beast of the Bay, but I live in Wisconsin.
It's
That's
Middle America for those of you who are unaware. It's just somewhere in the middle between the coasts.
it's America's Dairyland. Apparently, it's on the
Unsure
license
where in
plate.
the middle. Yeah. All right. And I think we're here to talk about Summer Derby and this wonderful deck you put together, which is on the screen. So, somebody, if
Perfect.
they want to, I'm not going to read all these cards. We'll just talk about the deck
Yeah.
and then they can go to YouTube if they so choose or not. Uh, Easily, the first question is how well did you do with this deck? Because, like, for me, my
Mhm.
problem is I'll try and play something spicy in the Derby and I will go like 1-0, right?
Yep.
But I heard you did better than that. So, tell me about it.
I did, and I'm no stranger to some spicy decks in old school. I'm not like I would consider myself a spice master. I'm not like an
Mhm,
Andy
mhm.
Picaro or his sort of kin. But I have run other decks and gotten stomped basically. And so I'm quite familiar with this is going to be sweet if I can make this happen, and then going like 1 or 2 wins in a larger tournament. So this was my first derby, and I knew it was going to be fairly competitive, but I just didn't realize how competitive. But in the end, I ended up going 5-3 with
Ooh,
this. So I did a lot better than I had any right to. And we can talk a little bit about why I went 5-3
yeah,
and some of
yeah,
the
yeah.
sort of the changes that I made. But I ended up doing a lot better than I should have. But I think the real winner was anyone I played against where I actually got the combo off, and they said it was an awesome deck. So getting the compliments, I think, was probably the best part of the derby.
Okay, nice. I think I understand the combo, but tell the people the combo here.
Right. So the combo is clearly Time Vault, right there, smack dab in
Hmm,
the middle of the
hmm,
deck.
hmm.
One of my favorite cards in old school. If not the contender for a favorite card in old school. But basically, the way it works is you get a Zenith Poltergeist into play, you turn your Time Vault into a creature, and at that point, you can tap it to take an extra turn, and then untap it with the Jandor's Saddlebags for infinite turns. Or if you have 2 Maze of Iths into play, you can attack with it and then activate a maze, hold priority, activate another maze. So the first maze resolves, it untaps, you take an extra turn, and the second maze resolves and it untaps again. So
Cool.
you can take infinite turns 2 different ways in this deck. It's pretty sweet when it actually happens, but it is, as you can see, a 3 card combo. So
I'm
the
familiar with the 3 card combo. It
yeah,
is
not
not the
ideal.
easiest to pull off in old school, at least.
No.
The one question I did have about this deck was the order of the Ebon Hand. No, not the orders. The initiates of the Ebon Hands. How much did you need those to like refine mana? Because you're really only splashing for like 1 white pip for, and then maybe 2 pips on the Brain Geyser. But like, did you need them that much?
I mean, the black mana is huge.
Okay.
The double black is actually harder than you might think. I think this deck has what, like 13 black sources, including the Mox, not including the Lotus. It's got 4 Seas, 4 Scrubs, 4 Cities, and then a Jet. And there were multiple games where I couldn't get a second black pip.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I had the the inspiration for this deck came from the All Things Considered episode that Mano
Mhm.
did a while back, where he was talking with, who was it? Um, gosh, I should know. I think it was a guy in Minnesota. Dane, is that his name? I always forget. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can look it up. But there was a spice episode where they had a spice off, and they were talking about all the various spicy decks. And the Jeff Liu had built a
Oh
Time
yeah.
Vault Xenic Poltergeist deck a long, 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 long time ago. And so I was like, oh, that sounds sweet. And so I kind of put together my own version, which is this. And I had initially put together a version that had Birds of Paradise in it.
Okay.
um, for, better mana, essentially, right? Whatever the color might be. And that version was, it seemed pretty good, but it also ran counter spells. It was, a little more of like a control-y kind of a strategy. It still had 4 mazes. I don't think it had the Jandor saddlebags in it. And I started to chat with Jeff about it a little bit, and he kind of took a look at it and was like, "Oh, yeah, I might try this or I might try that." And one of the things that came up was that the birds may not be necessary. And the birds were good in that they fix the mana, but they're also a really good swords target because obviously
Yep.
if your poltergeist or your time vault gets swords, you're going to have a bad time, as they say. Um, and so we kept them in there for a while in order to just have some swords bait. But then it became clear that it just really wasn't worth trying to make green work in a deck that was also trying to make blue work. And that you could put the initiates of the Ebon Hand in the deck and also run Mishra's Factory, because Mishra's Factory wasn't in the other list either.
Mm.
So you could get rid of the green and then run the initiates instead, and then also cheat a little bit with some Mishra's Factories. I don't know if cheat's the right word. I mean, the mana is actually pretty decent in this, but you could get away with running a full set of Mishra's Factories, which were actually great in the games. And as we all know, it's a pretty good card in Old School. And in the end, the initiates became pretty big swords targets themselves. I had a lot of opponents who were like, "Oh man, you got a big drain life or something coming. I don't want to see what this card's gonna do." A lot of suspicion as soon as I played an initiates of the Ebon Hand. Not a common one in Old School, apparently.
No,
Who
no.
knew?
I think you and I have the full 2 play sets of anybody. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
The only 8 in Old School
only 8
existence.
who have 2 sets. Yeah, that's it. The
Yeah.
the red, like, I have one question for you, and then I want to talk about matches. But the Emerald in the main versus Soul Ring in the side, I'm interested on your decision on that, because to me, I'm playing the Soul Ring so I can put out a Time Vault or a Saddlebag or basically any of those earlier by a turn? Question mark. So why the off color Emerald over the Soul Ring main versus side?
Because if you look at most of the cards in the deck, they're either just straight up one color, right, in their casting cost, like Initiates or excuse me, Hem to Turok, right? Like I've got a lot of double black, but I don't have a lot of cards that have 2 colorless in their casting cost.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
it's like Disenchant, 1 white and then 1 of whatever, right? Or colorless. Balance, 1 white, one colorless. I guess I don't need to read out, how much cards cost to Old School players, but
Now we
I
can
don't
do it.
have
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of cards where it's 2 colorless or more in addition to it. And so just to be mana efficient, the Emerald costs 0.
Okay.
And so if I have a Mox and a land and a Time Vault, I'm going to play a Time Vault on turn 1 anyway. I don't really need the Soul Ring to do it. The only time where it might come into play is with a Brain Geyser, but again, like that's a niche scenario in a deck that's already operating on so many niche scenarios that it really didn't seem worth it. And then I guess the saddlebags as well, using the saddlebags every turn. But otherwise, it just made more sense in my book to have the Mox.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, the Mox still stays in the deck when you bring the Soul Ring in, because you're looking to get some big creatures out ASAP in games 2 and 3. So the Soul Ring comes in when the fatties come in out of the sideboard as well to accelerate them, and then all the Moxens stay in too.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Talk me through your batches. Any like, I'm assuming you played a mix round 1 and then probably tiered decks round 2 or batch 2.
Yeah. I mean, and it's bad because I joined the Derby because I was like, I want to play some Old School Magic. And from what I've heard, the Old School players in these online tournaments are a little bit better, a little more mature and responsible about getting their matches scheduled than the pre-modern online monthlies used to be, which is another reason why I stopped playing those, is because it's just a nightmare to get them scheduled.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right, well, I want to play, I'll try this out. But I wasn't expecting to do particularly well with this deck. I certainly wasn't expecting to come on a podcast and talk about it. So I didn't take notes. I remember a handful of the matches and kind of who I played, but I played, over the course of the 2 different batches, I played shops a couple times. I played the deck a couple of times. I played, sort of, hodgepodge mixes, decks that were running, Juzams and Hymns, and also running, red and white. And I think Jeff Walker was one person who was playing one of those decks. So was Andres. I beat Jeff, but Andres kind of stomped me. Sometimes the
He
deck
made
beat
to the
itself.
16. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had some really good matches. Like Will and I played, and was on the deck, and we had a couple really good matches. He got unlucky, and I think that's the only reason why I won in game three. Just drawing nothing but air when I had an Order of the Ebon Hand out that he couldn't answer.
Mm.
But sometimes the cards just kind of do their thing, and you win with variance. But I had actually a pretty good mix, and I beat Shops a couple of times because when those 4 divine offerings come in with the disenchants that are already in the main, like I actually had a pretty good matchup, believe it or not. But Matt, gosh, what's his name? Matt H. Sorry, Matt, I don't know your last name, but guy over in the UK, he crushed me with Shops, just absolutely crushed me. So I also had decks where I got matches where I got steamrolled too. But overall, it was a nice mix, I would say.
Nice.
In terms of the combo itself, I only actually comboed off 3 times over the
Okay, that
course
was my. I'm like, okay, how many times did we hit it?
8 matches. Yeah, yeah. Like there's one match where I literally just won by going turn 1 him, turn 2 him, turn 3 Hypnotic Spectre, and that was the game.
Seems okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'd have other matches where the factories went the distance, and then I won a lot of games from the sideboard juke. Right, a lot of people just didn't see it coming. So much so that like there were games where in game 1 I would be losing, and I knew I probably wasn't going to win the game, and I would intentionally show the combo so that people would board in more artifact and enchantment hate, and then the juke would be even better. So that really was, going back to where the conversation started as well, this idea of running a spice deck and then getting stomped. I had talked with Will Larson a little bit about this list too, an earlier version of it, and he was like, you should run Armageddon, or you should just do some other things. And I was like, that's kind of getting away from the focus of the deck. And he's like, yeah, but I like to go like 4 and 4, with my spice decks. I don't like to go, 1 and 7. And so my concession to that was the sideboard, because this deck is fun and it's spicy and it's different, and at the same time it's not particularly like great. Like if you're going to play like a casual tournament and you want to do something different, I think it's cool. But I knew that 3-card combos, especially ones that are vulnerable to disenchant and Swords to Plowshares, maybe not the best.
Right.
Or among the best. Time Vault and Lich are a little bit better than this, I would say, or even Power Artifact. But this is a bit of a stretch, but it was super fun to play. But I understood that I was probably going to go 1 and 7 or 2 and 5 or something. So I did kind of set up this sideboard juke, and it paid dividends. It went really, really well.
On game 3s, when we did game 3s, what is your play there, right? Because like at that point, they've probably seen the combo. They've probably seen the sideboard. Do you go back to like what's your thought process? How do you make that decision?
I think it really just depended on the matchup. But it's funny, like after I boarded, I would make these sweeping sideboard changes. Like in games 2 and 3, I'd be like, oh, I'm playing a real old school deck. Like
right.
I felt like I was just playing like a decent old school deck with some powerful, some powerful cards, some disenchants, some hymns, some Sarah Angels, a Jin or two, a Jin here or a Sengir there. So sometimes the game 2 would go so well that I'd just be like, fuck it. Like I'm keeping all of this. And, I might
same
I might look at my sideboard and like maybe move a couple cards and move a couple back or whatever. Yeah. But in general, there might be like an edge case scenario where I might leave a Time Vault in, but most of the time I was looking to just get big creatures out as soon as possible. Yeah, I mean, as much as I'd like to say that there were little strategies where I might keep part of the combo in, and there are some combo decks I've played previously with sideboard strategies like this where I would sort of go back, like the Time Vault is an example, where you might board into a creature strategy in the sideboard and then board back out, keep the Urnums or the Darrellors or whatever in, but then bring some of the combo back in as well. But in general, with this deck, in the matches where the creatures were good, they were very, very, very good. And one of the things that I think I learned too, because I haven't, like I read the old school articles and I follow the tournament reports and I listen to podcasts, but I haven't been playing for as long as a lot of folks, and I didn't come into old school like as hard as I did in pre-modern, where for me, old school is more like about the hangs and the people and like trying to do fun things with the old cards. I started with like living plain decks and have done, candle flare and played a bunch of like janky stuff. But, for me, when I play these, I'm still kind of learning, right? Because I don't know it all. I haven't learned it all. I don't know all the matchups or any of that yet. And one of the things I learned just personally was how good Maze is when you have flying creatures, right?
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Like Maze of Ith is pretty damn good in a format with only one strip mine. And in those games, when I would bring in the Sengir, the Modi, the Sarahs, and they might have, other creatures. They might have Juzams, they might have Sedstrolls, they might have any number of ground creatures or factories, but they just couldn't do anything because I would just come in with 1 or 2 flyers every turn and then just maze anything they tried to do in return. It was bonkers. And the card was bonkers even when I was in game 1, when I wasn't using that. Like Maze is, wow, in a 1-strip format. It was probably very obvious for a lot of our listeners, but for me, it was really cool. I was like, wow, this card's incredible in 1-strip format.
Pretty good card.
So good.
The man, you talk about Maze and I just like lost my complete train of thought, but that's okay. The what would you would you play this deck again? B, if you would play it again, what would you change, or would you change anything at all?
I would play it again. I might try something different. Like maybe I would maybe I'd cut the hippies and the initiates, and maybe I would go maybe a route with green. I mean, there's a version of this deck where you run birds and Urnum gens too, and you just sort of like have more offensive power as well as defensive power, and so maybe it's not quite as like discardy forward. There's a question whether or not you want to keep the hymns or not. The hymns were great; they were almost like duress for me.
Yep.
Just to sort of make sure the coast was clear. But you could very easily run counterspell instead. It makes you a little slower, certainly, but it's an option. I think with the exception of Time Vault, I usually played a different old school deck at every event I've played at. And so, I guess I've played Living Plane twice. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But but I would say it might be fun to try a slightly different version of this deck. And Jandor Saddlebags was phenomenal when I had it in play with a Time Vault instead of 2 mazes, because getting 2 mazes was obviously pretty tricky.
Pretty tough.
But I almost wonder if there's like a deck a version of this where you could run more saddlebags, but then other cards that would benefit from being untapped. Like maybe like nothing comes to mind, but there's got to be something.
Sure there's got to be something in there. There's probably
like
some
a demonic hordes, like maybe demonic hordes or something.
Hordes.
Like I guess you'd be leaning even more into black if you're going to do that, but birds would help. But yeah, like something like a demonic hordes or something would be pretty sweet. But yeah, I would definitely try it again down the road. I'm going to try something different, in the tournament I'm going to play in today. But in general, I think it's fun, and I think I would revisit it at some point.
How many times did you Xenic Poltergeist somebody else's mocks? How many times? I like to play one of those sometimes in mono black just to fuck with people.
Yeah, I probably killed 4 or 5 Moxen, and I killed a Lotus as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it was one of those situations where I had the Poltergeist, but I think my opponent only had 1 card in hand, and it was a Lotus, and he was just like, well, you're probably going to hymn this out of my hand anyway, so I'll play it, and I just killed it. But yeah, the Poltergeist did some work on Moxen for sure.
Nice. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Where are you going today? And this episode won't come out today, so what are you going to play?
Okay, so I'm going to go to the Cream City Con run by Grant here in Milwaukee.
Wait, what was the name of that tournament one more time?
The Cream City Con.
Okay, excellent. I just want to make sure we got that on record.
Cream, CREAM, City. I don't think I need to spell that. It starts with a C, just in case you're interested. Con.
Yep.
So those of you, our listeners may not know that Milwaukee has a couple of nicknames. One is the Brew City, which is my preferred nickname for the city, because all the beer barons started here, right? Like Pabst and Schlitz and Miller, and so it's a huge beer town. A lot of German immigrants, but it's also called the Cream City because there is a style of brick that is cream colored. And so even like the old Pabst Brewing complex, it's all cream colored brick. It's gorgeous, actually. There's all these old buildings in the city that have this color of brick, highly coveted among brick enthusiasts, I hear. But but the buildings are actually really, really cool. But the name itself could potentially have other connotations and interpretations. And so it's not what I would typically lead with, but hey, it's Grant's tournament. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I should have Grant on at some point. Just to talk. I'll message him today and see what he's got going on later. What are you gonna play at good old CCC?
Good question. So I am going to play a version of a deck that Mano had played at I think a smaller event that he went to. It's essentially the Stormseeker deck.
Okay.
Did you see him post that one, or did you see that list?
No, I have an idea, but no, I actually have a couple Stormseekers. Just
Yeah, so it's pretty sweet. I don't know how well it's going to do today, but it's got. I'll just read you like some of the cards from the list. But basically, it's got 4 Fireball. It's got your powerful blue cards, including Twister. It's got a channel to go along with those 4 Fireballs. It's got the old no Mind Twist, but it does have the tutor. It's got Wheel. It's got 4 Storm Seekers and 4 Hercules Recalls.
Okay. Okay.
And then it's got 3 ATOG, 4 Mana Vault, 4 Black Vice, all the Moxen. Pretty straightforward. We'll see how it goes. This is a 4-strip format that I'm playing in, but the curve on this is fairly low, with the exception of trying to do a big Fireball, and the Mana Vaults help out a lot with the Storm Seekers and other cards. So basically, just trying to kill people as fast as possible for keeping cards in their hand, and then putting those artifacts right back in their hands as well.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Looking forward to it. I'll reach out to you later. Maybe we have a second follow-up episode, just back to back them. You can talk to me about it. I can never like I understand that part of Stormseeker. I just like to play a one-off in the sideboard for like, I don't know. At 4 mana in like a regular red green deck, it's not great, Bob, but I don't know. It's a cool looking art card. I like to just keep one in the sideboard sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if you show it once, then your opponent's always thinking about it too, whether or not it's there in game 3.
Yeah.
Do I play this out? Do I not?
Well, yeah, and I don't know. I feel like there might be something with Stormseeker in like I think they call it trick deck in old school, like where you also have the like just heavy black for Underworld Dreams. Oh, and nice. So you like make it you still make them draw, right? So Twister, Wheel, and then also just get them with cards in hand as well.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I think the mana is a little greedy here, but I'm looking at 19 lands, but I do have full Moxen and a Felwar. So hopefully we'll be okay.
Mana Vaults too. I mean, I think you'll be okay. We'll find out, I guess.
We'll find out. Yeah. If I get to channel Fireball someone though, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be real happy. Real happy. That's
like your first time doing heroin. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, oh, and then you just never. You're always chasing that dragon.
You never forget.
Like,
yeah.
You never. You're just like, all right, I got to do this again. Even though you're like, all right. Let's switch gears.
Switch gears again.
Yeah. I mean, like the cars have multiple gears. We should be able to use more than one.
Whoa, sir.
Like manual transmissions. Haven't driven one in years. Tell me about the state fair, and then I would like a rank ordering of the food. I'd like to know what was best, and you can rank order the beers as well. But like, tell me about the adventure that is the state fair.
Well, we earlier we were talking about America's Dairyland, the great state of Wisconsin, where I currently reside. If you've never been, absolutely visit. Visit in the summer though. If you like the winter, come in the winter. It's still great, but it is cold. But in the summer, Wisconsin knows how to get out and have a good time. And the state fair is absolutely on theme. I would say it's with any fair, it has excellent people watching.
Yes, excellent. Yeah.
And feel free to make your own bingo card. We typically do that. We didn't do it this year, which was a little sad, but there's plenty of awesome sort of bingo opportunities. But I would say the people in Wisconsin also know how to eat. And so the Wisconsin State Fair, and I think Midwestern state fairs in general, are typically known for this. I don't think Wisconsin is any exception, but the food is insane. So there are always myriad ridiculous food options, and they very much heavily lean into kind of like the meat and dairy side of things here in the state. So you're going to find, I mean, there's even like a milk stand where they have all these like flavored milks that you can drink, like
I
root
was going to ask
beer
if
and
you had milked a cow and then drank that raw milk. I don't know
no
if
raw
you've ever
milk.
done that before.
No,
Okay, all right.
no, I'm not. I follow the science, not much for raw milk guy myself. I'd prefer not to get
Got to live a little bit.
violently ill.
Got to live a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I do in other ways, but and I think I lived plenty, as we'll discuss, without raw milk. But yeah. Anyway, so I had a variety of items. So every year they have this thing called the Sporkies. The Sporkies is like a competition for like various drinks and food items, like dessert or regular, and then they have judges that go around and try everything, and then they publish their rankings. And sometimes the Sporkies have these insane items, and sometimes they're pretty down to earth. Like there was a lumpia vendor who had like an ube and banana lumpia last year that was delicious, and it was like a top Sporky contender, and it was quite good and not like ridiculous. But sometimes the things are absolutely ridiculous in terms of the food items. So this year I had looked at that list, and then I had been following folks on social media more generally and reading about all the food items, and I narrowed it down to a more reasonable number this year. I think it was maybe only six items or so. I don't know. We'll count them up. But I had a number of things, and so among the items that I consumed at the state fair, in order, I believe, were the first one was they take a skewer, corn dog skewer, and then they take pieces of braised short rib, and they
Okay.
put the braised short rib on, and then they put like a Wisconsin aged white cheddar, like a small chunk of that, and then another piece of short rib, another piece of cheddar, so they alternate. Then they dunk it in corn dog batter, deep fry it, and then they had some kind of like a sweet tangy sauce that they put on top of it. So that was the first thing I ate, and it was delicious. It was really, really good. The short rib was tender. It was well seasoned. I mean, I know this is fried food. Like you can fry most things and they taste good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this was delicious. It was very, very, very good. So that was sort of the amuse bouche, if you will, to the evening. After that, the next thing that I ate were deep fried birria balls. So if you've ever been to a taqueria, you know what birria is, right? So again, we're following this beef theme, I guess, here in the front, but it was the birria beef with some onion and some rice, almost like an arancini kind of a situation.
That's what I originally thought it was on the pictures that you had shown me. I was like, oh, it's just arancini, but yeah.
Yeah, very similar. And then they rolled it in crushed up flaming hot Cheetos.
Naturally,
as one does.
If you're not aware of what flaming hot Cheetos are, then you've never lived in Texas, especially in RGV.
Stop listening now. And then they deep fried that, and then they had a consomme that you could dip it in, and it was nice, better than I thought. Not as spicy as I thought it was going to be. But we are in Wisconsin. That's another caveat. Not a lot of like spicy food in Wisconsin. This is a bit of a generalization. I know you can find plenty of spicy food here, but in general, very Midwestern, like a lot of things that are quote unquote spicy really aren't as spicy as they might be if you were to get them in other cities, I would say.
Sure.
There are exceptions, but it is kind of the general rule. But they were good. They were good. They were better than I thought they were going to be. And after that, we had to go get one of my favorite things at the Wisconsin State Fair. So I used to live in Wisconsin. I lived here back from like 2008 to 2013 and 14-ish for grad school. And so we used to go to the state fair then as well. And I was introduced early on to the one stand at the state fair that does deep fried cheese curds. And you can go and get deep fried cheese curds year round at lots of restaurants here, bars, etc. It's an absolute staple, right? Cheese curds are huge here. But there's one at the Wisconsin State Fair that I think makes the best in the state. And they're fresh, squeaky cheese curds. They batter them. And you can like look through the window and watch the magic happen. And so they batter them, and then they deep fry them and then serve them to you. And they are outstanding. They're so good. So they are my favorite. So we had to get those, obviously. I mean, it wasn't
obviously.
Yeah. So at this point, we're also, responsibly sipping some libations, and that's going well. Beer tends to go well with deep fried food. And so we decided we were going to get a couple more things before going to a concert, because there was a concert at the fair that night.
Okay.
And so the next thing that we grabbed was the Al Pastor pizza at this place that always has like these wild, exotic. I don't know if exotic is the right word, but let's just say different or
Exotic for Middle
novel.
America,
Exotic,
right?
yeah, exotic from Middle America, novel. We'll just say like novel pizza toppings or whatever. And last year they did a Mexican street corn pizza and it was awesome. It was really,
Ooh,
really good.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
So this year they did an Al Pastor. It was pretty good. It had it was like a ground up pork that they had seasoned with the Pastor seasoning, and with some pineapple and some jalapeno and some fresh lime juice on top and red onion and so on and so forth. It's pretty greasy as you would
As you'd
probably
imagine with
expect.
pork. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was good. The flavors were good. I don't think it was on par with the cheese curds or with the short rib corn dog, but not words that I think I would ever thought I would say. But it was pretty good. Um, and then we had time to maybe get one more food item before the show, and so there was one other item that had really stood out to me that I wanted to make sure I got before, just in case it sold out. And it was essentially like a deep fried pie, right? Almost like
Okay.
like a hot pocket style, or like a toaster strudel, like filled, sort of like a pastry, that's sort of filled and then stamped and then deep fried and then dusted with sort of sugar and served with cinnamon ice cream. And the flavor itself was a bourbon pecan pie. So
Mm,
you have
okay.
this like nice deep fried pastry that has the bourbon, the brown sugar, the pecans inside, and then served with the homemade cinnamon ice cream. It was quite good. It was very, very good. And I like certain sweets. I'm more of like an almond croissant, or like a French pastry kind of guy. Like I love pastries, but
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't go crazy for like cake or donuts or things more generally. But pastries I really, really like. And some things are just too sweet for me. But this was awesome. For whatever reason, it just like hit all the notes. It was really, 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 really good.
Excellent. Okay. That all sounds fantastic. It also makes me a little bit sad I didn't get to try any of these things, but any rides or just people watching and food?
No rides, people watching food. We went to a concert for we were in there for about an hour and a half. And it was good. We saw the All American Rejects.
Hey, classic.
Classic. Yep, yep. I
Just
got in touch
some
with
40-year-old emo kids.
well, yeah,
Just
I got in touch with
yeah,
my angsty,
yeah.
16, 17-year old self. Let's be honest, 24, 25-year-old self. But no, it was good. And after the show, just grabbed some staples, a couple foot long corn dogs, steak pita, as one
Speed.
does
Yeah.
when they go to the
Yeah.
state fair. But overall, it was a solid experience. I did, of course, eat way too much food. I regretted it the next day. Um, but I would highly, highly recommend the Wisconsin State Fair to anyone who is feeling adventurous in terms of the more degenerate versions of food.
Is it
Um,
still, could you do both? Could like you fly in for Triple C? Is the state fair still running? I haven't looked it up, but like, could you
yeah.
theoretically come in early,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
do
I
the
think it
state
runs.
fair,
I
Triple
think it runs
C
through
it
this weekend.
out?
Yeah. Yeah. It runs through tomorrow, Sunday. So yes, maybe what we need to do is we need to get a contingency together for next year. Uh,
I think I'll be
Folks,
much closer next year to come do this.
you
So
will. Yeah, you absolutely should. You come out, you stay with me if you want. We'll so we can see if we can get some other guys out here. We could absolutely go to the state fair. We could have like a draft night or whatever. We could have a night where we go around Milwaukee, and also check out the fair. I think it'd be
yeah, I'll
fun.
bring my huge down coat because no idea what the weather will be because it could just be like -10. I'll bring
Not
one.
not in the summer. No, no, no. It's going to be hot and humid,
Hot
basically.
and humid.
Real
Okay.
sticky. Real
All
sticky.
right.
It'll be between
That's
70 and 85 degrees and very sticky.
okay. All right. That does not sound as appealing, but I'm not out. I'm not out on that. I'll rent like
Okay,
a huge truck or whatever, like a F-350, because then we'll need some hats as well. But
of
I think we
course.
can get something going here. I think we can get something going.
I think we could. I think it would be worth it. It's definitely something that the folks should experience, as well as the city in the summer more generally super fun here. So there's all kinds of festivals and stuff going on too. So highly, highly recommend.
Okay. All right. I'm not out. I'm gonna think about this one and see what we can get working here. Besides Triple C today, next big event, I'll see you at LobsterCon? Question mark.
You will. I'm gonna go to Hurricane before then.
Oh, you're gonna go see Simon and Ben.
Yeah.
Houston.
In Houston, indeed. I've been wanting to go down there and see some of Simon's watering holes as well. He's always
He's got
posting
good
really cool
choices. You're
food
not going to eat
pics,
poorly,
drink
that's
pics.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. So I've been excited to go down for that, and it just kind of worked out this year. So I'm gonna pop down there for a couple of days, and then I'll see you at LobsterCon. And then after that, I don't think I think the next tournament I'll go to is Sin City in Vegas.
Okay, in January.
Yeah.
Always a classic. Oh,
Did you sign up for that one?
I'm gonna probably miss that one this year for reasons, but I just don't know. Like,
Yeah.
life is a mess right now, but intentionally. So I just didn't know where I was going to be in January.
Yep.
But we'll see. I might show up and just play the craps tables while you guys are sitting in a room, and then I'll meet up with you all afterwards or something like that.
Fair.
We'll see.
Fair.
I love going to Vegas. It's just I have no idea what I'm gonna be doing in January. So
Yeah, I
that was
remember
my biggest problem.
That's totally fair with you moving and everything. I was going to say, I remember last time you had your blackjack book, and I think you were more excited to go hit the tables than you were
That's a
playing
craps book.
Magic.
Look,
Oh, it was craps. Okay, sorry.
I have
thought it was
2 books
blackjack.
on how to play craps. 2. There's actually
2?
more books than that. It's
Wow.
insane. I'm just saying, like every time, like Urbano got me hooked on it, and then David Craig was with us, and then he had never played, and now he's hooked on it as well. It is the best casino game to play with friends because you can play all together, and like you all want, like, you're not playing against each other, and there's no, like, it's not like blackjack where you may, like, I don't know, there's a lot of arguments about this, but like whether you want, like, what strategy you play affecting others at the table, right? It's not like that. You literally can just place your bets and everybody can play together. And so it's the most fun party game, I would say.
Is it a game that like you would recommend people just kind of go and try out? Like, how much sort of research should I do into how to play craps before I actually like play? I mean, obviously I can read like a quick article online, but like, how deep divey are we talking here on like the spectrum of casino games research?
It's as deep as you want to play, right? So like I could probably just give you like a 5-minute rundown and you'd be like, all right, I understand the purpose of this game. But if you want to get into like some of the higher house edge bets that are kind of fun to play with, it takes just a little bit more knowledge. But like at the end of the day, if you're playing the light side, there's light side and dark side. At the basis of the game is you want to not roll a 7, right?
Right. The highest probability number.
The highest probability number, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's still a casino game, because
Yeah.
there's a house edge of like 1.41%, right? Except for the come out roll. But like at the end of so that's it. And then you can just bet the numbers you want to bet. There's different ways to bet those numbers. And there's all sorts of like crazier bets where like the house edge is like 16 to 20%. But the payoffs are hilariously fun. And when you hit them, it's a big deal. Or when you get like a long roll going, it's like, it's the best. It is probably the most fun you can have together as a team, because you can win all together. You're not waiting for like somebody's hand to resolve before you can play your hand or anything like that. So
yeah, I mean, I've obviously seen it in film and seen like a group of people all excited about one person rolling the dice. So that all checks out according to my Hollywood understanding of craps.
Yeah. It's probably the loudest table in the casino if things are going well.
Fair.
Yeah.
What I think the other thing that you said that stood out to me is like other people aren't going to get mad at you. Like, in blackjack, if you hit when maybe you shouldn't or whatever, or you mess up the card order, sometimes people like will snap at you. Does that happen in craps? Like, you can't really control the roll of the dice, right? Like,
no, it's the only, like, quote unquote, Jared Miller will get mad at me for saying this, but the only bad guys at the craps table are the people who bet the dark side. So you can bet the opposite side of the coin, right? So you can also bet that a 7 will show up before other numbers. And so that's called the pass line. There's this called the don't pass line, or the don't come. Those are bets that are saying a 7 will roll before this next number will roll. And so after the initial come out roll, those are actually advantage rolls, meaning like you're more likely to hit those than other ones. So
right. Just
but
because
there's a lot of stition. There's a lot of stition in craps, right? So like this is the stuff I would actually explain to you before playing. The rest we could just play and you could learn it. But like, you don't like put your money on the table. while somebody's rolling, right? You wait for the game to end and then you buy in. And you don't like, you got to place bets at certain times. The dealers will help you out with all that stuff and they'll keep you straight. But like, I'd also explain like because of the odds on payouts, you want to bet different amounts on the 6 and 8 because it pays out in factors of 6, right? So on most, like on a small table, so like $10 bets or $10 minimum, you'd bet like 10 on the 4, 5, and then on the 6 and 8, you would want to bet $12 because it'll pay you out. It pays you out 16 on 12 or 18 on 12. So if you were to put $10 on there, the house would keep the 50 cents or whatever because they're not going to pay you out unless in a dollar denomination. But like it's small, it's very, very small stuff. And the dealer won't, like, generally speaking, won't let you do that. They'll be like, hey, just give me an extra 2. And they'll keep you straight.
Okay, fair enough.
And you can also bet for the dealers too, which is super, super fun. So they get in on the action.
Well, if you come to the Sin City Open, I might read up a little bit in advance and maybe spend a little bit of time with you.
I'll send you a little book.
Okay, I'll read it. If you send it, I will read.
Urbano got me hooked, and now I'm trying to hook other people because it's just it's too much fun.
Let me get you into gambling, friend.
just one game. Just one
game.
Just
one. Yeah, it always starts with one, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know.
The gateway game, I think it's called.
It's a good time. Like the best. Okay, so we'll end this shortly. But the best time I like to play early in the morning when there's nobody else there and just play by myself. That's how much I like playing this game. It's way more fun playing with a bunch of people, but when you have the whole table to yourself and you can kind of control the rate of play, it's also a good time. It's also a good time.
You wake up and you just got that itch. You got to scratch.
Look, you can play craps at 6 o'clock in the morning because I've done it before in Vegas. Just me and the dealers.
I believe you. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm into learning more about it. It sounds fun. The social aspect was where you got me. I think just very much
I mean,
one of the reasons why I play Magic.
Exactly. And like I'd much rather play, like, not much rather, I think I'd actually much rather play craps now, but like poker is a good example, right? Like that's another group game, but like you're adversarial because like if we and you were playing poker together, I'm trying to take your money, you're trying to take my money, right?
Yep.
So it's not as much fun as playing craps where everybody's just trying to win together. So that was the big leap between Vegas 25 and Vegas 26 was switching games out.
Okay. Makes sense. Oh, speaking of Jared Miller, I know we'll wrap this up in just a second.
Yeah. I mean, I got
to YetiCon,
but not going to YetiCon. Same reasoning.
I'm going to go to that one as well. I forgot. I'm going to head down to that one. So
I'm sad I'm missing it because I think he said I think he's pausing after this year.
Is he?
I think I'm going to put words in his mouth and he can just yell at me later, but I think he's pausing after this year. And there's a group down in Colorado Springs who I think is going to pick up his spot, but so but I mean, like, Denver's nice because you've been there before, but you can fly into Denver and there's public transportation that's like reasonable, right? So you actually could go to YetiCon and not actually need to rent a car or anything like that. You could use public transport while you're there, especially in the summer when it's not super cold outside. It's pretty doable.
Yeah, I mean, technically in November, right? So it'll be a little cooler.
You'll be okay in the day. It'll be cool at night. Bring a light jacket.
I used to live there. I lived there
that's right.
for a couple of years back in the 2000s. But yeah, love Denver. And I've heard this event's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to go. So I guess I actually have like a handful of old school events coming up this fall. But then this spring is pretty quiet for me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I should know this because I kind of
have
run
a calendar.
Yeah, but it hasn't been updated in a while. Sorry, guys. There's not a whole lot of spring events, right? No, I don't think so. There's like regional.
Europe.
Well, yeah, but Europe's got an event, like 3 events every weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Just is what it is.
Spoiled.
But I feel like the Danes just run like an event. Like they could probably run an event on a Thursday and still get 100 people if they really wanted to. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're wrong there. But you'll be closer in Boston, right? Like you just fly right across the pond for some of these.
So that's kind of the play, is like closer to Europe. The big consideration is like, what am I going to do with like all this mountaineering and ski gear that is all that plus
Have
a couple sets of skis that you can't see in the back. But
you ever
like,
heard have you ever heard of the Alps?
I've heard of them. I've even
Yeah.
seen them once or twice, and may have skied them once.
Mm.
But yeah, that's kind of the plan. Is like, um, is to if we're living on the East Coast, it's like a 6 hour flight into Europe. Uh, Europe is basically its own state, so we're not going to try and figure out the countries. But yeah, like 1 or 2 week ski trip once a year is probably within reason.
Yeah.
So there's a reason to keep those expensive skis instead of trying to sell them while I'm out here. But also just closer for events and stuff like that. Are you going to do any international? You got any international events on the horizon? You're going to go across the board?
I don't yet. I've been considering maybe trying to go to NoobCon again this year. I'd love to go to the Houston Troll Cup or Arvika at some point, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Life is going to, you know, continue to move on, and it's going to get harder and harder to probably get to some of these. So I'd like to try to get over to Europe at least once, either this spring or summer. But I got a wedding coming up in August, next
Oh,
August.
your a
Not
wedding or your wedding?
my wedding. It
Okay,
is
all right. Let's
it is
just
in fact
clarify it here.
it is in
Okay.
fact my wedding. So
Yeah.
I don't know how many international trips I'm gonna be going on or not going on. We're also saving some money, and um I don't know. It's sort of it's gonna be an interesting year. But if I can, I would like to try to get to at least one international event in the spring or the early summer.
Yeah, I think I did Noob Fest, not NoobCon, the year that it was kind of like open invite. I don't
Yeah.
think there was a shark involved. The that was great. I would love to get back for that, but I
Where was
really
that?
want to get. That was 2022, maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head. Um, but I want to do Arvika for sure. That's like kind of like the one on my list where I'm like, man, like Danny Friedman, who I haven't seen in a hot minute, but he like champions that event so hard. I'm like, man, I guess I got to go do this one. So apparently they just take over the entire town. So sounds like something worth going to see.
He's talked that one up to me as well. And I've thought about it. I think the only issue that we've had is historically it's been the same weekend as Chalice, which I helped plan. So I sort of skipping out on all of that is a little more difficult. I mean,
Obviously,
the
yeah,
beasts are talking sort of about what we want to do this next year for Chalice, if it's going to be the same time, if it's going to be the same place. You know, we're always kind of considering that each year about whether or not to kind of move it or to do it at a different venue or a different weekend. But we'll see. So if that does open up for me at some point, it's very much on my list as well. I've heard it's a lot of fun.
excellent. All right. Anything else you want to talk? You want to talk wedding planning? I don't want to talk wedding planning, but are you going to do a big wedding, small wedding, under 100, over 100?
It's going to be over 100. It's just
Oh,
we're both,
buddy. Okay.
dude. We just know too many people at this point. It's a good problem to have, right? And at the same time, like we still can't invite everyone that we want to invite, so it's still a feel bad, even though it's going to be big. Yeah, I'm excited about it. We don't need to get into the details of the planning, but it'll be
Obviously.
here. It'll
Yeah.
be outside. It should be a lot of fun. But my God, it's weddings are a lot
Yeah.
more work and a lot more money than I think I had realized.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's okay. It comes
it's
for
coming
everybody.
along. Yeah,
It's
it's
good.
coming along.
The wheels are in motion. All right.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Last question. Then I'm just going to like abruptly cut this off. Or at least the recording. What is what is your most favorite old school card that you have purchased since moving from not moving, but like kind of transitioning into old school from PM? Like what's your like card that you're like, man, I'm so fucking glad I bought this card.
Ooh, I'll show you.
Yeah, yeah, do it.
And I know for some this is not a visual medium, so I will also say it. But I think easily it is this one right here.
Love it. Is it signed?
It is not signed, no, but it is a unlimited ancestral recall Probably LP would be the condition.
Sure.
And it is just gorgeous. So I have all CE power, but that is my first actual like unlimited piece of power. And it's, oh man, it's gorgeous. Just having it is
You just like take it out,
so
you stare
cool.
at it every now and then. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be upstairs cooking and I'll be in the middle of 3 different things. And I'm like, man, I wonder how my ancestral recall is doing. Hold
Just
on a
go
minute.
check on it.
And I'll
Yeah.
just, walking down to the dork dungeon and take a peek.
All right. Awesome. I'm just going to end it on that. I'm going to stop the recording. Hold on. Maybe I'm going to stop the recording.
Good luck.